The man who built the Burj Khalifa was a genius. What are the problems of building the world's tallest building in the desert? First of all, there's a lot of wind in the desert. The foundation is the most important part of the building. If it's to stand for long periods of time in a desert where a Category 12 hurricane can strike at any time, the thickness of the foundation's undercarriage alone is 3.7 meters. In the 1940s, it would have been impossible to pour such a chassis in the desert heat, so engineers had to work at night and add enough ice to the water. Another problem is that in the construction of large buildings, the foundations can sink a few centimeters during the building process. But this sinking is within safe limits, and that's in relation to normal soil. And when the engineers put their instruments 140 meters below the Burj Khalifa, the engineers didn't find any solid, hard ground, just loose sand and weak sedimentary rock. If the chassis of the foundation is placed here and the drop is too large, it will collapse sooner or later. So the engineers came up with a solution by inserting a sharp pole into the sand. At a certain depth, the pole would stop sinking, and the sand around it would create friction. So the engineers decided to put this kind of concrete underneath the foundation sump. The columns were about 50 meters deep, so that during the construction process, as the foundation sinks, the friction of the sand will make the whole foundation more secure. But there was another problem at the construction stage. Normal concrete piles can be drilled directly with a drilling rig, but it's impossible to drill such holes in desert soil. The surrounding soil would collapse and fill with salty groundwater. So engineers inject drilling fluid into the hole as they drill. This creates a slurry. It prevents the inflow of water from the sand wall and at the same time resists the collapse of the soil. Then a hollow pipe is placed inside. And then you put in the rebar. And then a special very silky concrete is poured in. It took 2.5 years to build these underground piles alone. And then a layer of reinforcing steel is laid on top. The foundations of the Burj Khalifa are complete. And then after 6 months of testing, the engineers said the Burj Khalifa could stand up to 240-kilometer winds for a long time. Then they had another problem to solve. If this goes on for a long time, the steel reinforcement in the concrete piles underneath the foundations will corrode. To solve this problem, they made a cathode out of the rebar. They should use a titanium mesh to make an anode, and then they feed it a direct current. The electrons are deposited on top of the cathode, and that prevents the corrosion of the rebar. So all you have to do is replace the titanium anode mesh over time.